Negotiators from the three countries, from Turkey, Russia and Iran, have met on Thursday. They've been looking at the technical aspects. They've been discussing, for example, the constitution of a committee to look at the constitution formation for Syria and so forth. But primarily, they've been looking and setting the agenda for Friday, when the foreign ministers of the three countries meet. And the foreign ministers are going to be discussing, first of all, they're going to be looking at all the Astana talks, all the previous rounds that have already taken place, and they'll be looking at the implementation, how much they've been implemented, how much they've been violated and so forth and so on. Now, there have been bilateral meetings between Russians and Iranians, and also what Turkish officials are saying is that there are two important priorities at this point in time. First of all, Turkey is concerned about the humanitarian crisis in Syria. Turkish officials are referring to reports that are pointing out that the Assad regime is guilty of committing war crimes, using chemical weapons, causing mass starvation and forcibly preventing medical evacuations. Secondly, Turkish officials are saying that in the long term, of course, they need to work out a way to a democratic, inclusive Syria that represents the will of the Syrian people.
How does Turkey get past the issue of Russia and Iran, the two other parties in these talks, supporting the regime of Bashar al-Assad? Because historically, over the past few years, of course, Ankara has been opposed to Bashar al-Assad. But has that possibly changed or softened a little bit as Turkey tries to negotiate this delicate balancing act with those two other countries?
Well, this is one of the stumbling blocks. Turkish officials have been pointing out towards the humanitarian crisis. They've been saying that, of course, there are diverging interests, there are differences of opinions, but first of all, the priority should be the humanitarian crisis and finding a solution to that. Secondly, there are other issues. So, for example, there's the issue of legitimacy. Now, Bashar al-Assad and his regime, as well as his backers, they are keen to brand all opposition as somehow related to Al-Qaeda or Daesh, somehow collaborating with them. Even the secular opposition groups that have nothing in common with groups like Al-Qaeda and Daesh are branded as such, and those groups say that the aim, of course, is to delegitimize them and target them. Then there's the issue of Assad and his allies targeting all opposition under the pretext of targeting Daesh and Al-Qaeda related groups. That, of course, is posing challenges. Then there is this trust deficit from the side of the opposition. They're saying that the Assad regime that is responsible for the killing of nearly 500,000 of his own people has lost all legitimacy to rule, and that he cannot be part of any solution.